Hi, my beautiful brothers and sisters. This is Mary Hernandez with Genesis Kingdom, Part 3, and the Woman's Covet. You know, and I know I've said it and I continue saying it, as far as how God never picked any man from Israel's sons and no man from David's. It was all a woman's covet. Um, and again, that's why I named this title Woman's Covet. And in here, he tells you, and I believe I told a sister out there, I'm not going to say no names, but I had told her, is all like, hey, you're not supposed to be worshiping other idols and making other people gods. She goes, yeah, I know, but and she was actually a very beautiful woman. She just didn't see her value. So she used to almost like, and I've done that in life, but not with men, but just with people, like where you almost want to, like a person that's alone, that you don't feel complete, but you're out to help somebody because you feel that emptiness and you're able almost to see it in somebody else, you know, almost like we didn't see our value, our worth. So we go and try to help somebody else when we needed help. I needed to feel complete. I didn't feel it. I used to be in a marriage and I used to feel so alone, and I remember my mama that raised me, because you got to remember, a lot of us, we didn't even know where we came from. If you remember that Bible verse that God said, even though I scattered you among the nations because of sin, even though you were scattered among the nations, I will bring you back. I was raised by my grandma. I was adopted. My mom lied to me about my dad. I ended up getting pictures, I think, when I was like 26 years old. She was with the others and trying to hide my identity. It was bad. We have an enemy that did it. But she did it also, but she did it for the inheritance. She did it for money. And they were all fighting for an inheritance. This was none of my mom's. It wasn't my stepdad. It was left for me. And my stepdad's family, my sister-in-law, everybody was fighting for that money. Everybody's been living rich of that money. And that inheritance money was taken. But I think the true robbery of all this is our identity and who we were. And even some of you that we have our own family members fighting with us, for us not to know who we were. And that took God wake me up. He literally woke me up. Well, with that being said, we go into Psalms 4. And it says, answer me when I call to you, my righteous God. Give me relief from my distress. Have mercy on me. Hear my prayer. How long will you people turn my glory into shame? How long will you love delusions and seek after false gods? God tells you that because they made themselves God, and say you didn't know, or say you knew, but you were lost by the sauce, and saying, well, if we ignore her, then that's going to be you next. No, it never was going to be you. It was you. Is that you were up here. You belong up here. And the guys made themselves gods, and they liked the attention. They liked the clout that they were getting. Women flocking to the kings. And they still fight over kings that it's not even a kingship. It's a woman's kinship. And they're still fighting for that man when the man is not him. It's you. It's a woman's covet that got chosen. And yet it tells you on here, how long will you people turn my glory into shame? How long will you love delusion and seek false gods? Know that the Lord has set apart his faithful servant for himself. The Lord hears when I call unto him. Tremble, do not sin. Do not sin. When you are on your beds, search your hearts and be silent. Offer the sacrifice of righteousness and trust in the Lord. What did I say about offering sacrifices? Offer the righteous sacrifice. Seek the things of righteousness, and everything else will be added to you. Many, Lord, are asking, who will bring us prosperity? Let us light on your face, shine on us, fill your heart with joy. When your grain and new wine are bound, and the peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. It's the restoration. For you to get restored on the throne, you also have to bring righteousness to the table. You can't bring things of the world and expect to be a world leader and serving in darkness. Why do you think we were dethroned? Because of lies. But be honest, we were also sinning. We weren't even right. I needed healing. God knew what he was doing. God let everything pass for a reason. And each and one of us were that reason. We needed healing. Now, Psalms 5. Listen to my words, Lord. Consider my lamentation. Hear my cry for my help, my King, my God. For you I will pray. I pray this every day. In the morning, Lord, you will hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my requests before you, and I wait expectantly. And I add my what I sow. I said, the time, to be sowing, you reap what you sow. I don't know off the top of my head. It's Nehemiah 1-4, and then you put in the sickle because harvest time has come. So then you put in your prayer list what you want. Now, which is that you're asking for. You're a world leader, so you're not going to be asking for small things. You got to think big. Remember when I told you to write that manifesto and work on it, so when you come into your kinship, your women kinship, you're a world leader, you're a world changer. You're going to be able, your voice is going to be heard, and your voice is going to be answered. Your voice is not going to be in the back burner. We have the fake royalty that was out there. Now you have the real royalties on the throne. Now you have the real word changers that God is going to move mountains. He's already been in this journey. But you had to become that woman of God. You had to become that woman king leadership, that world changer. It wasn't going to happen when you were still living in the things of the world. He didn't let it happen for me then. I wasn't ready. And he was right. Mother God was right. I needed to change. I needed to become that woman of God. I needed to become that world leader. I needed to become that world changer. Because remember that I sang to you, I played that song by Michael Jackson, The Man in the Mirror. All this time you've been asking God, send me, somebody. Where's God? Where is he? And he's sending you people. He's sending you a savior to read over you. But they send that people that is a light in the darkness. In this case, it's me, and I know I have brothers and sisters that are living right as well, to sit there for your purpose, to bring you in the same situation that we're in, and then you'll be a world changer in that area, and it's like what we said, we're the light in the darkness because the world was dark. Why was it dark? Because of sin, because of evilness and wickedness in this world. And it tells you over and over again, and we were lost souls out there. There was a lot of lost souls. We were filthy rags. And yet when God sends you a person that is in the light, what did I tell you? I did one of this. What do we do when we see the light? When a car comes at us with the light, what do we do? Why do we do that when we need the light to see? The same thing. You want out, and he's giving you a way out, and he's sending you a light in the darkness. He's sending you a savior in the darkness, and you push her away. You push him away. Why? You need that guidance because you can't see. You're spiritually blinded. And we keep covering the light. Why do we do that when we need it to see? Right. Then it says, for you are not a God who is pleased with the wickedness. With you, evil people are not welcome. We have nothing in common. But if you're hanging out with them and you think that everything's going good while you're sinning, then he has you full. Then you're doing exactly what he wants. The arrogant cannot stand in your presence. You hate all in who do wrong. You destroy those who tell lies. And the bloodthirsty and deceitful, your Lord, it says you, Lord, detest. But I, by your great love, can come into your house in reverence. I bow down towards the holy temple. Lead me, Lord, in your righteous because of my enemies. Make your way straight before me. Not a word from their mouth that can be trusted. Their heart is filled with malice. Their throat is an open grave. With their tongues they tell lies. They declare them guilty, O God. Let their intrigues be their own downfall. Banish them from many sins, for they have rebelled against you. But let them all take refuge in you and be glad. Let them that ever sing in the joy spread the protection over them. For those that love you name and rejoice in you. And surely the Lord will bless the righteous and surround them with your favor as a shield. Now, I'm coming back to Proverbs. I'm going to finish it. But I also wanted to read to you as we're coming into restoration time. Because you got to remember, our inheritance was stolen, our identity being lied to, and this was like the awakening that God is using to bring you back, to let you know that it was a woman's covet and not a man's covet. So while you're bowing down to a man that's playing himself God and saying he was a king, that he was chosen, you stay down there and don't walk into your inheritance, and you don't walk into your high calling. That's what they want you to do, because they made themselves God, because they like the cloud, they like the women's, but they made a covet with the harlots of hell. They represent hell. They belong to Lucifer. That's who they belong to. That's who they worship. That's who they bow down to. The men think it's them. It's not them. Their Savior sends them. Blam send them. And he said, throw yourself at that man. Have them spread that plague. Take it back to Israel and have it spread around. It's in the Bible. And you're bowing down to somebody that is sitting there living a lie to keep you away from your inheritance. This is to wake you up to your inheritance. But they don't want you to hear that. Wake up. You're worth it. Every which and one of you is worth it. The man and the woman. And this is what, it's Isaiah 61:8. For I, the Lord, love justice, but I hate robbery and wrong. I will faithfully give them their recompense, and I will make the everlasting covenant with them. That's all he wants you, and he's telling you how to do it. Perfect love. Now I'm going to finish off Proverbs 4. It says, get wisdom and get understanding. Forget it not, but neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, her wisdom, the woman, the tree of life that's hidden there, giving you good seed, the tree of life. Forsake her not, that she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom with all that are getting understanding. Exalt her, that shall promote thee. She shall bring thee in honor, and thou embrace her. That she shall give thine head an ornament, and grace the crown of glory. Shall she deliver unto thee? Hear, O my son, receive my sayings, for the years of life they should be many. I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. I have led thee in the right of path. It says, but when thou goest and steps, and they shall not strain, then when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. Take fast of the instructions, let her not keep her. If she is thy life, enter not in the path of the wicked, and it says, and go not in the way of an evil man. Avoid it, pass, and not by it, but turn from it and pass away. From thy sleep, not. It says, expect that they have done mischief, but their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. For they eat bread of the wickedness, and they drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just, it is in shining light, that shineth more and more of the perfect day. The way of the wicked is darkness, and they know not at what they stumble. My son, attend to my words, incline thine ear into my sayings. Let them not depart from thine eyes, but keep them in the midst of thine heart. For they are life to those that find it, and them in health of their flesh, because it heals you from your flesh. You go from dry bones to let these bones live. You go from dead to life. You go from let the bones live, and you live. I was trying to think of the Bible verse. So I can't lie to you. I said which Bible verse it is. But it says prophesies to these bones and live. And then it says, this is the one that I was talking about. It said, awakest, though that sleepest, because we were asleep, we were dead. But remember in there that God just says, oh no, they're just asleep. And they're like, no, they're dead. And they're like, no. But what does he say? Awakest, though that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give you the light. Because you go from darkness to light. And then you get the wisdom. Once you get the light, then she gives you the wisdom, the discernment, the eyes to see, the ears to hear, the wisdom, the knowledge that you're able to read the Bible and actually say, whoa, this is it. This is a revelation. It says, for they are life unto those that find them, and health to their flesh. Keep thy heart with all diligence, and out of it will be the issues of life. Put away from them forward mouth and perseverance, and preserved lips, and put from thee. Let thine eyes look unto the right, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let thy ways be established. Turn not to the right, nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. Remember? You can be hot and you're either hot or you could be cold. There is no in between. It's either you're in or you're out. Because when you're titter-tottering and still going back and forth, you're living that gateway to the darkness, to say. So they know your weakness. They know. So they're going to try to throw every temptation and was fight for your soul. And it says to preserve your soul. Don't sin on the way into the promised land. And you see that every one of them, they sit there and they throw temptation or they scare them and they haven't finished the course. Nobody has ever done that. Everybody has always been afraid of them. And remember, I told you in the last 2 seasons that they had been asking, why isn't she scared? Because I believe right. I know who to be afraid of. The wrath of God is nothing compared to what these people are going to do to you. This is nothing, because there's a life, there's a life after death, and how you live that is where you're going to live. It's either hell or heaven, and people don't believe that. Yeah, and he's the God of the living. He's the God of the living. So we're become celestial beings, earth angels, or we're spirits, which you can't see us, but we're there. So there's more of us than there is of us. We're going to come with legions and legions of beautiful, godly Jehovah and Mother God angels when it comes to Armageddon time. And you have to be prepared for that battle. And prayer is the way. Stay and heal and cleanse yourself. And the washing by the word of the Bible, it washes you by water. That's what it is. That's baptismal. That's the washing, the word of the Bible, not a blood covenant. He said, I will take you. She said, I will take you and I will cleanse you from the blood, from the filth, from filthy rags, into your white garment, royalty garment that you and your children deserve to be in. Not in those filthy rags that you're settling for less, while you have fake people out there living in mansions and palaces that belong to you and your children. Your royalty. Royalty. And it took me a minute to even say that I was. I had to own it because it was hard for me to embrace and even think that even a king that God is going to bring to me, I thought I'm not good enough for him. I really thought that because I didn't see it. So in this journey, I got healed in and out. And I had to become the godly woman. I had to become that world leader. I had to become that king that is in me, that always was. That explains why I never was fitting in, because I wasn't meant to fit in. I was meant to stand out. And trust me, I did. I was hated everywhere I go. Even when I was young, I didn't make no sense to me. I would tell my husband, why are they looking at my ex-husband? Sorry. I used to tell him, I said, why do they look at me like that? And he never gave me a compliment, and he actually looked at me and he said, because your beauty intimidates them. And I never seen me like that because I didn't used to see my worth. So I understood that girl when she said that. She said, I don't see it. So you go chasing after men and thinking you need a man because to complete you, but you needed you to complete you. You needed to become that woman and you would start attracting what you are. If not, you're going to continue attracting what you're being out there. You know? And that was true. I didn't see it at first because I was finding my worth in him. I was like, he don't love me. He doesn't want me. He's chasing after other women. Why does he do that? I'm not good enough for him. And I started finding my worth in him, in what I thought about. And when I heard him say, you know, your beauty intimidates me, I was like, he never said any compliments, you know, and I was like, he actually sees me beautiful. And I didn't see myself like that because I already had lost that self-esteem. I was crushed. Physically and mentally, I was. And he healed me. And he told me, I stirred up your nest. I stirred up your nest because you would have taken the same problems into this relationship. And you guys are world leaders together. And you guys would have made a mess to this world. And he was right. We were both a mess and we needed healing. And what? Some took longer to heal. You know, the important thing had happened. You know? So it says, let us that shouldest ponder the path of life. Her ways are movable, that they cannot not know them. But hear me now, therefore, O ye children, depart not the words of thy mouth, remove thy way far from me, and come into night in the door of her house. At least thou give thine honor to others in the years of cruel. Let strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors in the house of a stranger. When he says, when you bring strange fire, that means you're bringing somebody from darkness. You think he's going to sit there and bless that? You're out of your mind. It says, and those shall mourn in the last, and they flesh the body are consumed. And they say, how I hated instructions, and my heart despises reproof. And we do. We take it offensive. We're like, she don't know us. Oh, she was out there. You know, that's the first thing that comes out of people's mouth. But it say, you're right. I was. And look what he did for me. He did it for me, and he could do it for you. He healed me. I'm a whole different person. I had to become that world leader. I had to become that Proverbs 31 woman that I'm more precious than jewels. I needed to see myself that valuable, and I didn't at first. And I do now. I know my worth, and I didn't settle. I could have settled if people say, oh, you're desperate for a man. If I would have settled. I would have settled for somebody in a pagan world on our way to the promised land, what he tells us not to do. And I knew that I said, my husband's at the end of this road. I knew he was out there. He needed help just like I needed help. And that's why I stood in prayer for him. But the witches and warlocks were at work. They wanted so much to destroy covet marriages because they know that that's world-changing things. So they distracted them. So they don't walk into their destiny and into their calling. But they also got distracted because they make themselves God and they forgot who they really were. That they didn't deserve to be out there. They didn't deserve to be getting in a car, renting out a room in somebody's house, or patching out on the floor, or even outside. They didn't even either, and neither did you. Have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to them that instruct me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. Drink waters of thine own citron, and the running waters of the own well. Let the fountains disparate abroad, and the rivers of water in the streets. Let them that is thine own not be strangers of thee. Let the fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Because we had a lot of covet marriages that we were destined from a long time ago. And I knew God stirred up my marriage. He told me everything he was said to me, everything, nothing was hidden from me. You know, and I'm glad he did. Because I needed to find value in myself, even though, like, I put a wall, and I do have a wall. And I need to have that wall because I'm not going to settle for less than. And I'm not going to, because I represent heaven, the new earth. We're in the image of our Father Jehovah, our mother God, my mother Jerusalem, our mother. You sit that we're mothers. We're mother and father gods. If you sit there, we're in an image that it was like Adam and Eve. We're made in an image of our God, our creator. We're not them, that we still have to increase ourselves because they're up here. You know? And it says, let her be the loving and hint, the pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and thou ravish always with her love. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman? Embrace the bosom of a stranger? In the ways of man, before the eyes of the Lord had pondered all his goings. And his own iniquity shall take the wicked himself, that he shall be holding in the courts of sin, that he shall die without instructions, and the greatness of the foolish shall go astray. So it just basically means a Proverb 31 woman, or the Proverb pathway to hell, which is a harlot, that she takes your soul. I'm going to close it up with Proverbs 6. I'm only going to do a couple because I got like 5 minutes. My son, if thou surety for thy friend, and thou hast stricken my hand with a stranger, thou art snare in the words of thy mouth, thou art taken in the words of thy mouth. Do this now, my son, deliver thyself, for thou hast come into the hand of thy friend. Go humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. Give not sleep to thine eyes, no slumber with the eyelids. Deliver thyself as roe from the hand of the hunter, as the bird from the hands of the fowler. Because the hunter was already hunting us. And we were there to hunt the huntee. You know? And yet we started mingling with the hunter. With the huntee. The one that we were there to hunt, to move out the darkness. People started hanging out with him. They were having fun. And that's when we were being called mischief, different. And I was okay to be called different, because you're right. I don't hang out with those people. I don't hang out with the harlots. I don't hang out like that. I didn't. I knew my worth, and God changed me. He's seen it in me before I seen it. And we didn't need to be out there. You're royalty. I was royalty. And we forgot who we were. We were even lied to. Our identity was stolen, and that's what he's restoring. But it starts with you. It's healing inside and out. Give not sleep to thine eyes, no slumber in thine eyelids. Deliver thyself in the roe of the hand, the hunter, as the bird from the hand of the fowler. Go into the ant, and go and sluggard. Consider her ways to be wise, which having no guide, overseer, and ruler, provided her meat in the summer, and guardeth her food in the harvest. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? Wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding in the hands of the sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, thy want as the armed man. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh forward of thy mouth. He winked, winked with his eyes, and he speaketh with his feet. He teacheth with his fingers. Forwardness is in his heart, devises mischief continually. He soweth discord. Who's he talking about? He's talking about the kings that call themselves God. And it's also lying to you. And you women too, we were falling for it. I didn't, but I still had sin. Because I told you the story about how my ex was like, it's either me or God. It's always God first. You're reading this, you're reading that. And I said, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. And I asked him to pack up his stuff and leave. And I got yelled at, by his sister and him. But I was like, I'm not going to put him first over God. And I will never do that. I told you, he gave me my daughter back. I owe him and my mother to stay loyal until the end, so you could see that he is real. I owe that to him, because he gave me my daughter back when she was demon possessed. If he wasn't real, he would have took her. Therefore, shall his calamity come suddenly, and suddenly should he be broken without remedy? The 6 things that doeth the Lord hate, 7 is abomination unto him: the proud look, the lying tongue, and the hands that shed innocent blood, and a heart that devises wicked imaginations, feet and the swift that run in mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he soweth discord among the brethren. My son, keep thy father's commandments, forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, tie them about thy neck, that thou goest, thou shalt lead thee, and sleepest, and you shall keep thee. And thou that awakest, it shall talk with thee. Again, when thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. When thou awakest, it shall take with thee. For the commandments is a lamp of the law is light, reproof of the instructions of the way of life, to keep thee from the evil woman, from flattering of the tongue of a strange